Okay. So, everybody else. So let's look at this. Okay. I can't hear teachers, so they're concerned. Tell me, Mr. Villa live on YouTube. It will be. You're also going to be live on YouTube. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I just turned it on. Yep. Okay. So, just 1 second. Now, okay, so let's talk about making salts. Okay, let's start. Now, the thing with that is, okay. Now, salts are generally made from, it implies they're made from acids and alkalis, generally speaking. Now, how are they made? Okay, so some sad faces here. I didn't even start much explanation, and we have already people making a sad face. Okay, so now need to understand that a certain acid makes a certain salt. Let's say, let's make a whole table. So HCl, let's take a different color right now. So let's say one acid is HCl. We'll take only 3 acids. One acid is HNO3, and one acid is H2SO4. The left one is called hydrochloric acid. The middle one is called nitric acid. You need to start learning their names. And the last one is called sulfuric acid. And all 3, let's say we want to make them react with something, right? So I'm going to make it a little table. And you can come up with the salts that each of these make. We're going to talk about some alkalis also. Okay. So I've got to put this here, and I can even move this one. Oh, come on. What did I do here? That's strange. Okay. Nitric acid. HNO2 is nitrous. Yes. And we don't care about that. It's one acid we don't care about. Okay. So we have, what is it we have? We have, let's say, NaOH. We have calcium hydroxide. Let's say we have, you can even make, you don't even have to make it from a hydroxide. You can also make it from, for example, an oxide. Copper, let's call it copper oxide, huh? Copper oxide. So you can make it from zinc carbonate. Now, every time we had an acid react with a metal hydroxide, metal oxide, metal carbonate, it made a salt. And remember where the salt comes from. So the salt comes from the anion of the acid and the cation of the hydroxide or the oxides or the carbonates. That's literally it. A salt is made from the anion of the acid and the cation from alkalis, oxides, carbonates, even metals. We'll talk about that in a second. But these are the ones that, if you remember the reaction we did yesterday, acids react with metal oxides, metal hydroxides, metal carbonates. If I had a little more space, I would make the 4th one here, the metal itself. But I don't. So, for example, if I want to make a sodium salt, it will be sodium, 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 right? And sodium makes a 1+ ion. And the anion of HCl is Cl-. nitric acid, NO3 minus, and sulfuric acid, SO4 2 minus. And if it's SO4 2 minus, then you will need Na2. Remember, initially we used to do formulae also. That's how you make the formulae. You follow so far? Yeah. Now when it's to do with calcium, okay, it will be calcium 2 plus, calcium 2 plus. So no, not calcium 2 plus. And the anion is chloride negative, nitrate negative, and sulfate 2 minus. And now you balance the charges. Now calcium is 2 plus and chloride is 1 minus, right? So that becomes CaCl2. Calcium is 2 plus and nitrate is 1 minus, so CaNO3 twice. Calcium is 2 plus, sulfate is 2 minus, that is 1:1 ratio. Are you so far following how I'm making the acids? Is this making sense? All right. Yeah. Then what do we have? Okay. One second. Things disappear from my end, by the way. Okay. Okay. All right. Hi, Asra. Okay. Now, can I please repeat, Zabad? What do I want you to? What do you want me to repeat? I was saying the salts are made from the cation of the metal compound and the anion of the acid. The charges you just have to do crissy-crossy. So 2 plus comes there, 1 minus comes there. You can do it that way. This is बहुत पहले से कर रहे जब हमने. This is one of the earliest things you've done. Formulae, making formulae of compounds. Like copper in the next case. Let's do the third one. Copper का charge क्या है? Copper is Cu 2 plus. And copper is Cu2 plus. So I write copper Cu2 plus. And then I look at the anions. The anions is Cl minus. So you have to have 2 of 1 minus to balance the 2 plus. Because the net charge has to be 0. If copper is 2 plus and nitrate is 1 minus, then you need 2 of the nitrates to balance the copper. And the third one is, it's 2 plus 2 minus, they are equal. Okay. And zinc maybe, so Zn carbonate. So zinc with, which one? Sorry. Zinc now can form with anyone. So zinc ions, and what is the anion? The chloride minus. You need 2 of them because Zn is 1 plus. Sulfate 2 minus. Obviously, in the final formula, you do not have to write the charges. But so far, the charges help you identify. So what I meant to say here is that, look, zinc le lete. Let's say I want to make a zinc. Let's say somebody says, okay, make me zinc sulfate. So they say, make me zinc sulfate. Now, to make zinc sulfate, you have 4 options. And then I'll show that to you. एक तो ये ना. zinc hydroxide with which acid would you want basically? Tell me, can you tell me? Thank you so much, Agastya. I respect you too. Thank you, and enjoy your study time. So sulfuric acid. So you need the acid with the sulfate ion, that is sulfuric acid. And now what you'll make is you can make zinc and sulfate, and the H of the acid and the OH of the hydroxide will make water, but it will make 2 moles of water, because remember, very simply speaking, one OH minus and one H plus makes 1 water, but yahan you have 2 OH minus and 2 AH plus. Not haya HNO3. HNO3 will make zinc nitrate, not sulfate. You all three said the Zabed. Come on, guys. Like, how clear do I have to make it? I'm giving you the anion, and I said in a salt, the anion comes from the acid, and the cation can come from a metal hydroxide. What's the second option it can come from? It can also come from a metal oxide. It can also come from a metal carbonate. If it comes from a metal oxide and you react with sulfuric acid, it does make Zn sulfate and 1 mole of water. Or even if you take H2SO4, it will still make the same salt, but it will make water also, and it will make carbon dioxide also. And the fourth way, which I haven't yet shown you, is, so yeah, the which you wanted to use the acid that gives you the sulfate ion now. That's what I asked. I don't want any acid. I want an acid that will make me zinc nitrate. Are you getting this so far? You know, while you're taking the class, you should be pressing that button there at the right that helps me to know how the theme of the class is going so far. That smiley face. Anyway, so the other way to also do it is with metal. Metal plus acid also makes a salt, but makes hydrogen gas. So metal oxide, metal hydroxide, metal oxide, metal carbonate, and just metal. All of these make the same salt that you need. All of them make the same salt you need. As long as you use the same acid, you'll get the same salt. You follow? Yeah? Yeah? Then okay, that comes later. It's coming abhi. Yahan tak ho gaya? So if I were to ask you, okay, give me 4 ways. Okay, that's 1 second. I do this all the time. 1 second. Okay. To make calcium chloride, how would you make it? What are the 4 equations? Let's write the 4 equations. There are 4 ways of making this salt, guys. Yeah, you following so far? Yeah. What will the 4 equations be? Yeah, only the metals above hydrogen. Yes, you're right, Arisha. So what do we have here? So you can have calcium hydroxide. You can start from the reverse order. The metal oxide. So if I want the metal, I can also use the metal oxide. I can use the metal hydroxide, and I can use the metal carbonate. All of these four will react with acid. Now let's take a different approach. So now, which acid would you need? Absolutely. You need which one? HCl to make calcium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Because calcium is 2 plus and chloride is 1 minus, it's CaCl2. And therefore you'll need 2 of H's and 2 of HCl's. Then with calcium oxide, same acid. Because क्यों? आपको chloride चाहिए. You want the chloride. So it'll make, no, what am I doing 2 for? I'm sorry, my bad. There is no 2 here. There's only 2 at the HCl level. 2 there to make with this, it makes and water. You still need 2 here, but now it'll make 2 moles of water. And the last one will also need HCl. It'll also make CaCl2 and then H2O, and but in this case CO2. So now you follow this? Make some sense? Arisha, absolutely on spot. On spot, Mason. Absolutely. Done, guys. So now you know how to make salts. Okay? Alright? But this is just the chemistry behind the salt. The process is different. You know? The process is different. We'll talk about that. But before we talk about the chemical process, the apparatus that we need, the next thing. So now that you've done how to make the falls by formulae, the next thing is the actual practical. Okay? So what have we done so far? You know? Now, just to give you a recap, magnesium oxide, magnesium hydroxide, and magnesium carbonate. All of these can make, let's say, magnesium nitrate. All of these can make magnesium nitrate. All of these four. This can make it, this can make it, this can make it. And with the same acid. Which acid? Nitric acid. Nitric acid. You follow? Right? We'll talk about the solubility of salts later. Coming up, Arisha. Coming up. You all follow this? The only problem is only metals that are more reactive than hydrogen react with hydrogen with HCl to make salt. So meaning in your, that means copper and silver, when they react with HCl, those ones you have to remember there is no reaction. And the reason for that is copper and silver are less reactive than hydrogen. All right? Fardeen, you can search, there are a lot of videos I've made. Okay, moving on. So far, yeah? Now, so that part is done. Now we got to talk about the solubility. Now I'll talk about solubility. That's important. Okay. Now, we gotta find that out. Now, you gotta figure out, okay, which salts are soluble. Okay. Now, what does it mean to be soluble versus insoluble? Okay. Does that one that in water or aqueous solutions? That's what it means to be soluble. Okay? So we gotta start learning it bit by bit. Now, one thing. Now, let's start with a good rule of thumb. Okay? ये दो आपको रूल याद करने ही करने हैं. सही है. एंड तीसरा, yeah, so all group 2 ones also soluble and all nitrates are soluble. ठीक है. And all, yeah, let's do this one first. So meaning whatever group 1 salt you have, what do I mean? Sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, sodium bromide, soluble. And then all nitrates are soluble, meaning भले group 1 nitrate हो, भले group 2 nitrate हो, भले कैल्शियम नाइट्रेट हो, ठीक है, भले भले aluminium nitrate हो, which is group 3 by the way, भले है transition element nitrate हो, भले copper nitrate हो, these are all soluble. Yeah. That's something you got to remember. All right. Can you remember this so far? Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing. Then you got to also talk about the other two salts. Remember, the three main anions for you guys to learn in salts are which ones? Nitrates, and the last one is, so I will in this case give you the insoluble ones. Barium sulfate is insoluble. ये घुलता नहीं है. While silver chloride is insoluble. Now that means कि the rest of them for you guys are soluble. That's what I'm saying. कि इनके अलावा बाकी सब are soluble. Now, these are not the only ones. These are the most popular ones. Okay. And one second. Where is it? Now, that's not the only insoluble salt. So yeah, for your exam, you also have to remember there are two other sulfates that are insoluble. Barium is the bottom of group 2. Okay? There is also calcium sulfate and lead sulfate. ये भी दोनों insoluble हैं. So, ये आपको याद करनी पड़ेंगी. You have to remember them. Okay. And the last one was chlorides. Silver chloride and lead chloride is also insoluble. So you should look from the salt solubility from both the cation perspective and the anion perspective. All right. Now let me repeat myself from the anion perspective. So remember, aqueous acid कौन सा होता है? You have HCl, which is chlorides. You have which one else? Sulfates and nitrates. ये तीन आपकी acid है, right? So your acids are HCl, sulfuric acid, and nitric acid. So you can only have 3 salts, right? You can only have 3 salts. तो when जब nitric acid बनाएगा, what will nitric acid make? So nitric acid will form nitrates as salts. And what's the rule? And I'll write the rule in blue. All nitrates are soluble. ठीक है? That's the first thing. Then the other 2 acids are HCl. Now what will HCl make? It will form chlorides, meaning it will form like Cl minus salts. उसमें आपको क्या याद करना है? सिर्फ everything is soluble except silver chloride and lead chloride are in and the third one is sulfuric acid forms what? Forms sulfates, meaning the sulfate anion. उसमें 3 are insoluble. Which ones? Barium sulfate is from group 2, calcium sulfate is from group 2, and lead sulfate. All 3 are insoluble. मतलब बाकी सब soluble हैं. This is what you have to remember. Can you remember this? We don't do mercury. So you can ignore mercury. All right. This is all you have to remember. You think you can remember this? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next up. So now you got to learn this कि यार ये insoluble हैं. Insoluble. They do not dissolve in water. बाकी सारी soluble हैं. And as far as the cations are concerned, the ones that you have to remember for cations mein, the rule for cations is all group 1 and ammonium salts are soluble. जो मर्जी हो जाए, you know, meaning any salt that has sodium at the start, potassium at the start, lithium at the start, or ammonium at the start, इनकी salts are soluble. इनकी everything is soluble. The salts, everything they make is soluble. All right? Capiche? Understand? So, any questions? Guys, Haya, Miral, any questions? Nope. Okay. Awesome. So, the easiest thing to make is an insoluble salt. Okay. Via what we call precipitation. What is the meaning of the word precipitation? Precipitation means that if you take a beaker, okay, and first add, let's say, solution A, okay, and then you add solution B. And the idea is, if the cation of A and anion of B is insoluble, or if cation of B and anion of A is insoluble, then a solid forms of what? Insoluble salt. Meaning, kabhi kabha, when you mix two solutions together, you end up making some solid in the beaker. Okay? And this is how you make an insoluble salt. Now for example, I told you that silver chloride is insoluble, right? Remember that bit? Okay, so let's make that. So let's say, so basically if I take a solution with silver ions, let's say silver nitrate, and I take a solution with sodium chloride, ये भी aqueous है और ये भी aqueous है, precipitation होगा. क्यों होगा? Because the silver of silver nitrate and the chloride of chloride, sodium chloride, will precipitate. And the way this works is this, you see, because just beaker tha na, let me make that beaker again. Now the beaker had individual sodium ions and chloride ions, remember, because aqueous means that. And let's say मैंने sodium chloride डाला. Actually I need a bigger beaker. One second, I need, because this page is very difficult to draw on. So let me take a bigger beaker, big ass beaker. Okay, my beaker is not even straight. ठीक है, और इसमें मेरे पास सोडियम आयंस हैं यहाँ. रिमेंबर सोडियम क्लोराइड एक्वस का मतलब ये होता है कि द sodium ions are separate from the chloride ions, you know, and they are mixing around freely like this. Okay, and you then add silver nitrate aqueous. Now they are also separate. अगर वो एक और बीकर में थे, so they were also separate, because वो aqueous था. Silver अलग हैं, nitrate अलग हैं. So when they come here, they are also separate. Let's say दो डालता हूँ मैं, silver and nitrate, not sodium but nitrate, like nitrate. Now when you do this, if two ions that make up an insoluble salt meet each other like this, they form a solid at the bottom. They are no longer aqueous, they become silver chloride. And the बाकी solution में आपके बच गए sodium nitrate chloride. You see, because क्या हुआ कि जो silver आया, it met the chloride from sodium chloride and precipitated, PPT'd. That's what's happening. Yes, Arisha, you're absolutely right. I didn't talk about carbonate because carbonate isn't a salt yet. We'll talk about that later, not right now. Would that be okay with you? All right, any questions so far? So the idea is कि अगर मुझे silver chloride बनाना होना, what I'll do is I'll take a soluble silver salt, and since I knew nitrates are soluble, I'll take nitrate, and I know sodiums are soluble, I'll take sodium chloride and make from this silver chloride solid and leave behind sodium nitrate aqueous. If I want to make barium sulfate, so the idea is you find a barium solution and a sulfate solution, aqueous. And the trick to knowing that is, since all nitrates are aqueous, use barium nitrate. And if all group 1s are aqueous, use sodium salt of that. Because वो हर वक्त aqueous रहेंगे, वो तंग ही नहीं करेंगे आपको. So barium sulfate and sodium nitrate is formed. But balance करने के लिए टूल खाना पड़ेगा वहाँ. Solid and aqueous. So remember I said the easiest thing to learn is that to always remember what to use is to always use the sodium salt of the anion and the nitrate of the cation जिसका आपको precipitate बनाना है. Let's say lead chloride था. So take lead का कौन सा version? Nitrate. And chloride कौन सा लेंगे आप? NaCl. You follow? I'll take blue also on top. What if somebody said नहीं यार मुझे चाहिए है calcium sulfate. So what will I take to make calcium sulfate? I'll take what form of calcium and what form of sulfate ions? You mean sodium nitrate, right, Arisha? वो बाद में बात करेंगे वैसे. But separation की बात करेंगे अभी. We haven't done that yet. Wait. So I'll take calcium nitrate. Thank you, Miral. Miral or Miral? Miral, sorry. And I'll take sodium sulfate. And that will make calcium sulfate and 2 moles of sodium nitrate. और ये आपका insoluble है. भाई देखो. Okay, the rule is simple. Let me tell you this. The rule is simple. You want an insoluble salt? ठीक है? Let's say my insoluble salt is Mx. Mx is my insoluble salt. So what I'll take is, I'll take the M ka nitrate and I'll take sodium X. That's the rule. Always. Yeah? Mesam. So, अगर मुझे बनाना है lead sulfate बनाना है मुझे, क्या लूँगा मैं? Yes, both starting material have to be soluble. Otherwise, they will not react. They will not react. Do you follow what I'm saying? Yes. How is that? Too loud in your ear? Okay. So, you'll take lead nitrate and what? I know, Zabad. Where are you guys from? Which city are you guys from? No, I can't explain again. I explained it 3 times now. Said, sorry. What do we have? Thank you. So lead nitrate and sodium sulfate. Why? Because remember, for precipitation, I need both initial things to be soluble. And how do I get lead to be soluble? By using a nitrate, because all nitrates are soluble. If I want any sulfate to be soluble, let me just take sodium or potassium. तभी आपने देखा होगा लैब में बहुत दफ़ा चीज़ें होती हैं, सोडियम परमैंगनेट, potassium iodide, potassium manganate. The reason is that we want if we want a certain anion, we'll take the sodium of that anion. And if you want a certain cation, we will take the nitrate of that cation. I'm sorry, Zabad, my loudness has no bounds. It goes in loud, loud, loud. You know, every day the number of people sitting on YouTube increases and sitting on noon decreases. What's up with that, yo? Actually, right now it's almost the same number. Pretty sad, man. Pretty sad. Quick question. Those sitting on noon right now, are you also on YouTube? Because I know one of you is. No. Okay. All right. Do you guys use a phone or your laptop? No, ammonium versus nitrate is different, you mean, Arisha? You mean instead of sodium. So Arisha is saying, can we use ammonium instead of sodium? Yes. Yes. Not. Yeah, noon isn't user friendly, you said. Yep, I know. For some people it isn't. Phone, laptop. phone में मतलब font भी बड़ा आ रहा होगा काफ़ी नहीं मोटा मोटा. Miral, is the font too big? So basically, Arisha, no, you must mean ammonium instead of sodium. Yes. So you could use ammonium, basically. So when I'm saying this, let me say this again. So when you want to make an insoluble compound MX, you will take the M ka nitrate version, and you can take the X either in the form of sodium, potassium, or ammonium X. So for lead chloride, you will take lead nitrate, and you can take sodium chloride or potassium chloride or ammonium chloride is what you meant to ask, right? Yeah. But no, Arisha, there are two. I want an anion, not a cation. Huh? If the only time I use nitrate is because I want an anion. You know why? Because M is a cation. A cation will not bond to a cation. A cation bonds to an anion. So I cannot have lead ammonium. That won't work. You can't have two cations only because this has to be neutral overall charge. So two pluses don't make neutral. Yeah? All right, I'm going to head out now, guys. I got the next word happening. Okay? Okay? I hope you had a good class. I hope. Give me smiley faces. Give me love. Give me love, baby. Yeah. I had a great time. I think so. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Yeah. That's all I can make. Yeah. Lots of stars in the sky. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. You know. I know. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Keep falling on my head. Dum 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 dum. 'Cause raindrops keep falling on my head. Falling on my head. Thank you, Asad, for coming in. Thank you, Arisha, for joining us. Mesam Zabad. Shout out to you all. Miral. Hello. Hiya. All right, guys. Thank you for you being my audience. And I'll see you guys next class. Aight? Aight. Yeah, Maman. Yeah. Yeah. This is me. Big face. Yeah. I gotta get the face down. Yes, there you go. Bye. Bye. Goodbye. Where is the link? Okay, there it is. Bye.